Whew. It looks like I'm gonna be ready for this, and I'm pumped for this, and hopefully eventually I'll probably not gonna be going completely outraged into any forms of the hardest missions throughout this game offers us too. But before we get on to the forms of that, however, though, that I just want to point things out right away, that this is going to be the second longest video of this entire Let's Play, probably because there's going to be a lot of things we're going to be tackling through this point today, mainly due to the forms of, well, we'll explain more about it whenever we dive right things in. So, hey, what's up everyone, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again, for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario Sunshine for the Nintendo GameCube. So, last time we have basically 100% through everything in terms of Nuki Bay, likely due to the forms of 100 coin Shine Sprites that we did manage to get, and also same applies to the forms of the tedious blue coins on that world. Hopefully whenever we get onto the 7th world after this though, it won't be so bad when it comes to the forms of likely doing, you know, 100 coin Shine Sprite, as well as the forms of the blue coins and stuff, and oh, you gotta be kidding me, I have no water left. I was gonna be able to try to do this quickest method by simply able to doing that, specifically the water bomb trick or something like that, so that way we can able to make things a little bit faster for ourselves, but unfortunately for the sake of time, it doesn't seem to quite usually happen for this most few points noticed. So, but regardless of such though, we at least did manage to able to accomplish that though, so either way though, and as you can see on screen, that we did manage to able to clean up the first bell right there, which appears to be on that specifically, on that above the actual prison cell apparently. So either way though, all we need to do is just basically just clean up the bell, and then when he's done so already, we need to acquire the rocket. This means we have to do this twice by the way. One, you have to utilize the rocket to able to get to the bell and then clean it up with the actual flood. And once you've done so already, then you can able to blast off into the skies with the rocket nozzle and able to obtain the Shine Sprite itself. And now we need to do the second bell, which appears to be the exact same thing, except that the actual Shine Sprite placement is going to be somewhere a little bit more different this time. So either way, let's just go ahead and go up there if we eventually try to make our way from this point right here. So hopefully we would be able to once again clean up the actual bell before we can get onto the forms of the actual Shine Gate section. So as a result, yeah, it's not too complicated if you really want to go for that specific stuff. So either way though, let's just go ahead and, why does it go, why, oh okay, let me just go back a little bit, so just in case we can able to just back up a little, so we can able to clean up the second bell. So hopefully we would be able to do the same thing from here. I know it takes a while to able to actually just to clean everything up, but either way though, regardless of everything else though, we have managed to accomplish that. So, yeah, as you can see, the Shine Sprite placement is now going to be down right here onto the actual cage, and in order to actually get to it though, is the fact that we need to go for this tunnel segment. So as a result, that way we can able to actually just to be expected able to notice. Actually, is there any possible way I can able to, although I wish I could wanted to bring Yoshi with us, but unfortunately he only wants pineapple, and unfortunately for the sake of time, I don't think we can able to actually just get a pineapple for this point. So as a result, yay, Shine! Whilst in the Japanese version it just calls it Shine Get, which can be same applies on the you know, in Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2, that if you obtain the Power Star and stuff like that, in the international versions, they always call it "You Got the Star," and then as far as the Japanese version is concerned, it just gets Shine Star Get as well as Grand Star Get. So as a result, yeah, that could be a little bit more of a difference when it comes to what different languages you might able to actually just to play through. So now we're done with those two bells out of the way, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next task, which is clean up the Shine Gate, which, as you can see on front, I accidentally just fell off on that specific spot, probably because of how the fact that sometimes the camera in this game can sometimes get a little bit too fickle at points, but usually relatively speaking, because they always requires us to able to utilize with the C-stick controls and stuff like that. Is there any blue coins in this area? I might be curious about that. Oh yeah, because of that though, yeah, as I said before, that last time we have managed to able to 100% for everything in terms of, you know, Nuki Bay for able to actually accomplish those tasks, because I already established that earlier. And today, we're about to be mainly focusing on Delfino Plaza from now on, because, well, we just want to get these missions and these blue coins collective out of the way before we move on to the forms in the next world, which appears to be on top of the actual, the Shine Gate, which, because then again, we're probably not going to jump right things in onto the pipe just yet, though, because obviously we need to mainly focusing on one thing at a time rather than just multitasking at the same time. Although it's still multitasking, all things considering, because obviously, as you can tell, that we've already done cleaning up those 2 bells, and recently we managed to clean up the actual Shine Sprite, which is actually based off from, well, the Shine Gate. So yeah. And just like on that bell on the left, we need to once again utilize the rocket, and that can be same applies on that top of the lighthouse as well, when you try to get a lot of emphasis on that big, powerful ground pound, in order to actually break that specific hard, you know, that hard stone, and that way you can able to blast off into the skies again, and that way you would able to actually just to realize that you would, realistically, try to get yourselves the actual, the Shine Sprite itself. Oh yeah, in addition to the, trying to able to actually just get ourselves, some couple of more Shine Sprites in this, this particular hub world, we might also try to able to focusing on, the blue coins as well, the blue coins themselves as well, and also same applies to the forms of the 100 coin Shine Sprite at the same time. Thankfully though, the actual 100 coin Shine Sprite is actually not too bad, honestly, because every time whenever you complete something, likely choose the forms of that Shine Sprite, like we've already collected 3 of them so far, that way we're able to actually save up our 100 coins or current coins count. So as you can see, for example, if I do manage to able to gather myself 36 coins so far, and also that if I manage to obtain the already collected Shine Sprite or something like that, or a new Shine Sprite I should say, thankfully your coins count will be saved. And luckily for us though, since if you manage to able to go through, you know, the 100 coin Shine Sprite itself, that way you can able to actually just make those coins respawn every time whenever you're trying to accomplish something based off from, you know, just Delfino Plaza itself. So as a result, you should definitely recommend you able to actually just to do that method, especially how, if you think you're running out of coins in the Delfino Plaza itself, thankfully though you can able to just like, go back into the previous Delfino Plaza mission, and then as a result, you can able to actually just go ahead and re-grab the same coins over and over and over again, just in case you would be able to actually just for the sake of, you know, just trying to collect them, obviously. So yeah, as a result, yeah, I should definitely recommend you do that, so yeah. So a few things we want to explain about this, potentially speaking. I apologize for that specific awkward dialogue aside, and thankfully we've only got about 6 more blue coins left, so either way though, we are getting close towards the end of Delfino Plaza itself. So, again, whenever we're done with this particular hub world itself, then we should probably be mainly focusing on the next world after this. So, but then again, it's a little bit of a convenience that is, so either way though, let's go ahead and take care of the forms of the next few blue coins, which is going to be a lot of emphasis on trying to bring the fruit around. So first off, we need to bring 3 coconuts into the basket. So thankfully there's an easier way to able to actually do this way, and that was the forms of the coconut tree. So as a result, if you try to carefully spray on it, then as a result you really don't want to let the actual coconuts fall into the water, because as a result, if it does manage to fall into the water, then basically you won't be able to grab them unless if they do respawn onto that specific tree. So yeah, as a result, this is one of the easiest fruit gathering basket kind of tasks. So as a result, if you do manage to insert 3 of those coconuts in, then this pianta right there will give us a, what else? A blue coin. So, and by the way, we need to do this 4 times, by the way, in order to actually just get yourselves the majority of those blue coins, by the way, such as like, for instance, that we did manage to already done the coconut part. Now we need to hit on to the next part, which is the banana and after that it was the pineapple, and the fourth and probably is the most annoying fruit gathering task in the whole game, which is of course the Durin basket carrying stuff. So as a result, because we'll point that out whenever we get into it, because for now, let's focusing on the banana ones next. I always attempt to go for the bananas versions first, since as a kid, because, well, I just did not know this game most of the time back in the day. But now since I'm grown older, then I should be probably able to actually know this for this fact. So, but no, you get the idea. So, yeah, a few things we want to explain about this before we're able to actually mention about the forms of several other things worth noting for. Although, before we get onto that, actually, I should probably able to mention more about that until when it gets to the point where, whenever we do the hardest mission in the whole entire game, just to point things out right away. Well, usually the number one hardest mission in the whole game, well, I would say, usually for the sake of that, most people seem to always having trouble with, so anyways, let's go ahead and place that banana into its basket properly, so hopefully that might be the case though. Thankfully the coconut and as well as the actual banana baskets is not too hard, but whenever we get onto the pineapple, and especially noticeable with the Durins, then it just makes things a little bit different for ourselves. So either way, because basically, well, there goes the bananas task. So that way it gives us another blue coin straight off the bat. So let's go ahead and save our game in case if my game doesn't crash again, unlike the forms of how it does it back in, well, in the, you know, Nuki Bay, for instance. That's, well, I can't even believe I accidentally just managed to come across into that, you know, just a, you know, one rare game crash in Nuki Bay whenever I try to obtain the first ever blue coin, which is of course launching ourselves with the actual rocket, I suppose. But I digress. So now let's move on to the next carrying the fruits basket kind of task, and this time we need to do pineapple, which this particular task, as you can see, that the reason why that the basket itself is actually slightly higher than the rest, probably because, think of like basketball, except we need to toss the pineapple into the actual basket. So think of like the basketball, as I said before, but once you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too complicated for the most part though, but the ones it's very, very complicated is the one that's coming up after this. So yeah, as a result, this is the reason why about the fact that alongside with you know, the 8th part of our Let's Play of this, and as a result also is the fact that this is the unlucky 13th part, which, it's nothing too unlucky about that, but either way though, we'll point it out whenever we get onto the forms of the hardest tasks throughout in this game offers us, so, but you know, you get the idea for that solution here, so yeah, I suppose there's actually one little thing we'd like to discuss, and that was the fact that recently, since after all today's day is the forms of the 25th of March today, in 2020, so this means, for those who lived in the UK, this means happy 9-year anniversary of the release of the Nintendo 3DS. Well, generally speaking, for the Japanese release, already done that ever since about a month ago, so even then, it's nice to able to actually just to celebrate the 3DS's you know, the 9-year anniversary in the UK. So this means we only got about, well, I would say 365 days to go until the, what else? The 3DS has been released for 10 whole years. Oh, jeez Louise, 10 whole years since the actual thing came out. So I can't even believe that it's been time flying all of a sudden. So anyways, let's move on to the last of the carrying the fruit into the baskets territory, and that is probably the hardest ones out of all 4 of them, and that is, of course, the Durins themselves. Now, you guys are probably thinking about the fact that why the Durins will be so hard. Well, do you remember the forms of our mission in Yoshi's Fruit Adventure that always requires us a Durin in order to actually just to take it to Yoshi in case if we're about to proceed? Well, think of like the forms of that, except we need to carry this all the way up to the basket itself. And what makes this a little bit harder is the fact that unlike any other fruit that we actually already accomplished with, this fruit does not able to require picking up from, because as a result, I'm pretty sure because this is something to do with the actual spiky models or anything like that. I'm not exactly sure how do I describe this, Plus, because I accidentally just managed to pick up the rocket nozzle, so this means it makes things a little bit awkward for ourselves for this raid. Especially noticeable how the fact that we are getting very close towards the end of our blue coins farming. So as a result, I think we've only got about 2 more of those blue coins to collect at the moment. And as far as the last blue coin in Delfino Plaza is concerned, we'll definitely save that up until later, because as you guys can clearly tell, well, probably not going to spoil things majorly though just yet, because, well, you know, we're just getting started for the most part though when it comes to getting towards the end, basically. So I wonder if there's any blue coins around in this area, which, if I recall correctly, it might will be. So, because yeah, if you really want to go for the 100 coin Shine Sprite in this entire hub world, well, basically you're going to be spending most of your time on the actual tunnel segments, which I don't mind that at all, especially noticeable how the fact that, because of how the fact that, well, as you can tell, because of how the fact that, well, again, if you're trying to accomplish something like the Shine Sprite and everything, or in this case, the already collected Shine Sprite, which I'm probably not going to do that, but I will try to collect the new Shine Sprites of how this game offers us to. So yeah, as a result, I guess there's not much else I can say, apart from the fact that, well, there's one little thing I just want to point things out right away for this point, guys. I somehow almost becomes like my commentary feels a little bit awkward for this point today, because, well, if you couldn't tell already, I actually have my stomach issues, probably because I'm eating too much chili dogs recently, so, or maybe it's just that, but I'm pretty sure it's more accurately it's something related to that different food, that I seem to have my stomach problems, so, but hopefully I might as well be okay for the most part though, but then again, that if you guys can clearly tell, it's because, well, I just simply can't talk very well because of my stomach issues. So anyway, let's just go ahead and carry this derm onto that slanted hill. If it's anything possibilities, we're going to be a little bit tough, if I recall correctly, but then again, that if you leave the fruit for a very long time, then you'll obviously respawn back into its respawning point. Thankfully though, the nearest part of the actual derms, you know, that specific task is actually almost right near to the, you know, the tunnel segments, luckily. So either way though, that's, yeah, because basically the derm itself actually acts like a football. Why do I mean by that with the football layout? Well, because basically every time you're able to just move around with the Dern itself, then basically every time you touch the Dern, then basically you're able to act out very similar to the football or the soccer ball if you're in America. So yeah, it might take a while to get used to with that specific stuff, because honestly, that always kind of reminds me of the ball puzzle segment from, you know, that terrible Dusty Desert level from Sonic 06, except unlike in Sonic 06, where basically that this is a polished game, whilst the forms of Sonic 06 is actually unfinished, so, but you know, you get the idea for that little questionable choices as far as I'm aware, if we're able to discuss on that front. Although I could potentially try to make it possible to make 2 Durants all in one, but unfortunately for the sake of time, as I said before, if you leave the fruit for a very, very long time, it will able to actually eventually disappear. So yeah, there goes the 1 Durham, so we'll just have to maybe focus on this one, so oh boy. Especially because of how the fact that in addition to able to deal with this this tedious Durham kind of like carrying, or not so much carrying, but we need to guide the actual Dern all the way to the actual the basket, which actually representing the actual football goal. Oh, really? I've only done 1 so far out of 3. Oh, jeez. Can you tell, folks, it's the fact that this is a perfect example of why that this video is going to be so long in comparison, along with the forms of trying to able to deal with, you know, the 100 coin Shine Sprite in Record Harbor, as well as, you know, Gelato Beach for sure, but either way though, and same applies to those blue coins as well, but in order to able to actually just go for 100% completion on this game, you have to be sure you need to force to able to deal with those specific stuff, so I've no idea why I'm talking like this at the moment for this point, guys, because of how the fact that, well, I'm just getting a little bit more of a stomach ache more than anything. So yeah, as a result, I do apologize for that, folks. I do apologize for that. Oh, does it make it? Ah, so close. But hey, at least we did manage to got that in, thanks to the forms of that flood. So, anyways, let's go ahead and move on to this last turn before we get this out of the way. By the way, if you try to do the actual fruit gathering stuff again, well, the only reward you can get is just the actual extra 1-up. So, either way though, or in this case, alive. So, let's not worry about this too much, because we're still mainly focusing on the blue coin as it is. In fact, this will be the last blue coin we're going to be getting from this point in onwards, because until whenever we get on to the next world, especially towards the end of the game, then we should be able to actually just to guarantee we can able to actually just to conclude every single aspect of those blue coins hunting in this game. So as a result, yeah, that's all it usually goes for this point, because either way, yeah. Oh, really? Oh. And look at that, the Durin itself just managed to get stuck onto that Pianta right there. Sometimes many people always come across to that, especially because of how the fact that if they really expected to want to get ourselves the last few blue coins as it is, then, well, it just comes across as like arbitrary. So, come on, there we go. Thank God. Now we got that tedious part out of the way, saved my game. Now it's focusing on the main missions themselves, or even in this case, some more missions in, you know, in Delfino Plaza, excluding the 100 coin Shine Sprite. But before we deal with the forms of the 100 coin Shine Sprite, let's get ourselves our Turbo Nozzle, so just in case we can able to deal with this next mission, and that was the fact that you remember the forms of the Nuki Bay world, that basically, oh yeah, there's actually more coins down there, so even then we'll grab those in just a moment. So first off, if we hit onto this island over there, then you do realize is the fact that there might be something a little bit more secrecy in here, but unfortunately for the sake of time, I have no idea where he's gone to. I know it's been almost like 5 years since I actually last touched this game, and as far as I've noticed something correctly, I think the yellow bird is actually over there. So yeah, as a result, we need to make him fly, and then much like the forms of how it does it on Nuki Bay, we need to go ahead and just keep on spraying at him for about a few or so times, and that way you should able to get ourselves the, what else, the next Shine Sprite. So, it's not too bad though, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, I think this is all depending on the forms of how the fact that if some of those different kind of playthroughs or something like that, I don't think there's any way I can able to reach for this with, no, there's no way I can reach it, so I should probably give myself the actual hover nozzle, probably for the better. But before we do that, however though, let's go ahead and grab some more coins beyond in this area, and especially noticeable that we might also get another selections of coins in, well, first off, before we're able to actually do that, however though, let's go ahead and get ourselves, you know, the hover nozzle as you can see, and yeah, everything else will be comes together for the most part though, so either way though, let's just go ahead and ground pound through, where was it? Ah, there we go. So thankfully, we would be able to obtain, oh, just only, actually, we'll leave that coin over there as it is, because if I recall correctly, if I accidentally managed to able to actually just ignore, the golden bird, mission, along with the forms of, when I was trying to gather myself 100 coin Shine Sprite for that matter, basically it will not appear if you already obtained the 100 coins or something, because either way, I could assuming for this correctly. So yeah, there's the next Shine Sprite. And that way we got ourselves 79 of those Shine Sprites, so only 41 left, meaning about the fact that we basically at the, almost at the third quarter of the game for this point right now. Well, despite the fact that we've already got ourselves, you know, one last Shine Sprite, so, you know. Okay, quick error right there, because I just need to quickly research on something, specifically for some other things worth mentioning for. And let's go ahead and get ourselves only one coin from the Shadow Mario posters, and there we go, the 100 coin Shine Sprite is already in existence. See, I always love doing that, especially because of how the fact that if I was going to get a little bit tedious enough, or in this case, if I almost got myself a few coins left, then I should be able to do this method, because that way it's just simple and easy, so, but I digress. Let's go ahead and get ourselves the, what else? Oh, really? I always attempt to bypass one of those platforms like these in a rocket nozzle. Can you just let me go up, please? Because I really want to get this done. Okay, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Now we're on to the third quarter of the game now. So this means we got 80 of those Shine Sprites right now. And, well, yeah. Everything else will be good to go for the most part, though. Well, it's not until whenever we get to come across into the forms of the next few missions left. So, and as you can see, we've now got ourselves 46, or technically 47, lives at the moment. So, we should be okay for the most part if we're about to take on, you know, the hardest missions throughout this game offers us to. And excuse me, Pianta, you in my way. We're able to walking, like, back and forth like that. How mean of you. Well, not so much mean, but it's just, like, come across as, like, convenience. So, anyways, we need to get ourselves our rocket nozzle, as you can see, and because of that, we need to go all the way from here while simply able to climb through those whole bunch of plum trees, if I recall. And then that way we'll come across into this very familiar green pipe, and this will actually lead us to, of course, the next secret course. Which, for what I've noticed something correctly, it is something related to the red coin field, which, to be honest with you, doesn't look that much challenging at all, apart from the fact that there's going to be quite a few familiar enemies, as we already saw them since, you know, since Bianco Hills, which we have these guys right there. Now, basically, in this entire objective, as you can see, and same applies to the two hardest missions throughout the game, which, trust me, we'll get to those in just a moment. Basically in this mission is the fact that we have to simply just gather all the 8 red coins, basically, in this whole, big, wide open, field kind of feel to it. So, it always kind of reminds me of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild almost, with the actual grassy, stuff and everything, but, the only major difference is the fact that there's no weapon degradation and stuff like that, because I say that because, well, I haven't really got that much progression on Breath of the Wild because of weapon degradation. So, yeah, that's why I get the feeling for that point, so. But anyways, let's go ahead and get ourselves some more, red coins by simply defeating all sorts of enemies for this point here. So I think we should be alright. And there's going to be one red bird that's going to be only exclusive to this particular secret course, as far as I've noticed. It's the fact that, well, that's what the rocket comes in, because either way though, I don't know if, I don't know what I should explain about this point right now. But anyways, let's go ahead and just help this Pianta out, so that way we can able to get rid of the fire, and that way he will give us, what else, another red coin. So yeah, it should be not too bad though, especially because it's not that hard or challenging either, because as a result, just like in the forms of the red coins in a bottle mission in Nuki Bay in episode 3, I rarely did not even die one or too many times on this stage, probably because of how the fact that there's not much difficult obstacles here and there. The only time it's kind of tricky for this level though sometimes is the fact that where the red coins are specifically, because of the forms of a lot of emphasis on, although kind of think of, speaking of which actually, is that the actual grass themselves also almost kind of reminds me of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker cel-shaded look, but except the fact that this is a Mario game, not a Zelda game after all, so. And there we go, once you obtain all of these 8 red coins, then obviously the Shine Sprite will be yours to obtain. In order to actually just to reach to it, however though, well, you just have to simply just use the rocket, and that's all you really have to go for. Although, the only thing about this though is the fact that if you accidentally run out of water, or every single water on your water tank, well, you're basically done. Well, apart from the fact that if you're trying to, not to deal with the actual red bird, then you're out of luck. So, because of that, you have to go ahead and just get kicked out of the level, and then you have to restart the entire progression again. So, but at least this particular secret course is not too hard and not too difficult either. But now let's hit on to the 2 difficult missions in the whole game. Starting with, of course, the most infamous mission in the whole game, for most of us seem to able to notice to agreement. It's this. the pinball, well, in this case, a Pachinko machine. Why Pachinko the machine? Well, basically, we just have to able to, hopefully, God forbid, try to make it to, trying to accomplish this with all elements of luck. So as a result, in this mission, as you can see, similar to the forms of how it does it on that previous mission that we've already done, except, well, to make things a little bit tricky and difficult for ourselves, is most notably because of, well, obviously it's all around luck, and also because the actual physics sometimes on this particular stage is always this stage, that it always seems to get a little bit screwy most of the time, which as a result, I think that's why most people seem to get a lot of game overs on this level. Probably because of how the fact that well, if you somehow fell off into the actual Pachinko kind of stage, then you have to go all the way back to the beginning of trying to collect the same exact... What in the world? I got stuck! Okay, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Anyway, so let's go ahead and... Wow, sometimes the actual slope detection on that specific segment right here always tends to go a little bit slower. And sometimes, yeah, I always keep on, like, hugging to walls and stuff like that sometimes. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get ourselves our next red coin. So, oh boy. How am I supposed to get the other 3? But nothing compares to the forms of the next one coming after this, which, trust me, I know. But either way, though, we'll get to that, folks. We'll get to it, so... Alright, so let's go here. I just missed it! And yeah, that's what happens if you do fell off the Pachinko machine. And there goes all of my 100 coins. But luckily for me, we've already obtained a Shine Sprite on the 100 coin Shine Sprite. Which, again, it doesn't really matter to me though, because we've already accomplished that. So, whatever. Just whatever. Anyway, so let's try this again, shall we? And hopefully, we should be able to actually make our way to the better attempt for this point. Alright. So far, so good anyway. But apart from the fact that, well, again, it's all about luck-based most of the time, as you can clearly tell. And plus, because of how the fact that originally you might able to actually just decide to turn back at one point, but then again, you always have to go in one particular, movement worth noting for. But either way, though, it's hard to explain about this obstacle course sometimes, because... Well, I can definitely see most people seem to think this is the hardest mission in the game, which I haven't really looked upon that much in terms of the top 10 hardest missions in Super Mario Sunshine, if I like to say so. Probably because of how the fact that I was busy just trying to able to focus on my own playthrough of the game, and yeah, that's what I can usually say about it. So there we go, we basically gathered all 8 of those red coins. If you think we've done, well, it isn't, because we need to make a way to the exact middle portion right there. No, 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 get back in there. Thank you. Oh, wait, that was actually really close, especially because if I somehow screwed over again, in addition to able to falling off the Pachinko machine kind of level, then I'm also able to actually go insanity if I do somehow need to start all over again. Thankfully for me, it only took me about 2 tries, so yeah, that's all that matters to me. But nothing compared to the forms of the next mission that we're going to be focusing on next, which, as a result, this will be the final task for Delfino Plaza from now on. As far as the blue coins are concerned, then again, we'll save those up until whenever we get towards the end of this game. So yeah, as a result, yeah, we still got plenty of time whenever we do kinds of stuff like this, so... And because of that, the next mission we're going to be focusing on at this point, we do need to require Yoshi on that specific next mission. Now, as you can tell, that we need to able to actually gather, well, you can able to carry any kind of fruit for that matter, depending on the forms of Yoshi's fruits he's going to be having, such as, for instance, we need to carry either the coconut or the banana towards him, and if you've done so already, then you should be able to get Yoshi, right? Well, turns out we need to go all the way to that, you know, with that particular coconut islands that we've already come across into, since, you know, trying to get our blue coin with. Well, turns out we need to make our way there with Yoshi. Luckily, there's actually an alternative way you can able to make our way from here, by simply able to spin jump from here, and then basically you would be able to ground pound the actual the tunnel panel, and that way we would be able to make our way to that specific island that we need to get to. And the reason being for that is because, well, you know these little two boats they like to able to actually just do, whoa, that's really high, Yoshi. That is super high. Even though it already does that ever since in Record Harbor, but that's just how it goes basically, so. Oh boy, this might take a while though, especially because this is also another example about the fact that this video is actually gone super long, probably because of this part right there. You know these boats right there, that you're supposed to be able to actually get onto one of them? Well, ignore this one, because this particular boat will able to take you all the way back to that, you know, the Pachinko machine obstacle course, but instead we have to hop on to not only this boat, but also another boat up ahead. So as a result, this is going to be a very long journey. So as a result, yeah, you have to able to actually bring Yoshi for the majority of the time in order to able to actually succeed for this point. Sure, it might take a very long time to able to actually just to get to there. Plus, because of that though, if you really want to see you know, the 100% ending of this game, well, you know, you just have to force to deal with the forms of that specific stuff, honestly. And plus, because of how the fact that because Yoshi still has himself the actual juice meter, so as a result, you also need to keep an eye out for it. Because if you somehow let Yoshi just, well, die without any sort of hunger, then basically you're gonna have to go for all this tedious slot again. So as a result, easily the most tedious secret course to get to. Well, as far as the next secret course as far as are concerned, and especially noticeable, this is going to be the final time it's going to take place in, you know, the blue cloudy skies kind of secret course. Because of that though, because until whenever we get onto the 7th world in this game, like specifically whenever we get onto the top of the Shine Gate, then you probably know what I'm talking about when it comes to likely some stuff. So I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this also is the fact that while this has been going on, recently is the fact that the Sonic 2020 broadcast, you know, that's going to be, well, thankfully going to happen during at some point on this Friday on the 27th of March. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this, although the only bad news about the forms of specifically the Sonic movie, which is just recently, is that, well, it did manage to already release in the English version, luckily, as well as the any other regions, except Japan and China, probably because of the coronavirus issue again. So as a result, the Japanese version and the Chinese version of the Sonic movie that just recently came out, unfortunately the film in Japan and China was actually been delayed. So I'm very excited about this, and especially notable, it really doesn't help about the fact that, well, the coronavirus thing starts to get worse and worse. So, but that doesn't end off here, however, though, is the fact that obviously the iTunes digital release for Sonic movie will get its early release, and I think one of the special features they might actually include in the Journey Films of the Sonic movie on the iTunes or something like that, it able to actually include ourselves the original design for the baby Sonic. So yeah, what I've noticed something right from the start though, oh my god, it just looks really creepy looking, especially that because I keep on getting used to with the Sonic we all know, plus because in the final release of the film that obviously has gloves and it looks perfectly normal to me. But no matter what though, is the fact that with the original version of Baby Sonic's design, oh my god, it just looked absolutely creepy. Especially with this creepy teeth looking, as well as no gloves. And, well, it seems a little bit, you know, just creepy in general. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the forms of the final frontier with the actual, for the sake of this video, and that is this monstrosity. This particular stage, easily the hardest mission in the whole game. Now you notice with the actual lily pads that we've actually sold them since Bianco Hills, and especially noticeable as you can see on these little sign billboards, it actually has skulls on them, meaning it's death. Every time you hit the water, that means you have to go ahead and just, well, commit suicide if you accidentally touch the water. And obviously, just like usual, we need to still get ourselves all 8 of those red coins. But if you somehow accidentally miss one of the red coins, that, if you couldn't tell, I'm almost doing super well. But unfortunately, for the sake of time, I accidentally died right there. Because, then again, if you accidentally touch the water just once, it's all over. So as a result, yeah, this is definitely the most definition of the hardest mission in the whole game. So, yeah, as a result of that specific stuff, you really can't afford to miss the actual red coin either, because if you somehow miss at least 1 or 2 red coins, then as you can see on screen, I did accidentally miss one right there. There's also another method you can able to grab those coins by simply careful trying to able to actually get onto the ledge of specifically in this obstacle course without utilizing the actual lily pad. But here's the thing though, if you somehow lose your footing when you're trying to do for this method, sometimes you're gonna have to keep on getting a lot of usage on the hover nozzle, and also as a result, you need to keep an eye on your drop shadow, because if you somehow don't get your drop shadow to recognize with, then you might somehow able to actually just fell off. So, yeah, easily the hardest mission in the game. And also, as you can see at the end, that there's actually a green pipe over there. Now you're thinking that this will take you back to the beginning of the obstacle course? Well, instead of that, it'll able to take you back to Delfino Plaza. So yeah, definitely a bad thing. Crap, 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 crap. No, 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 no. I was so close. Ah. Oh well, 3rd time's the charm then. Hopefully I would be able to succeed for this point. Thankfully I managed to get myself a whole bunch of extra lives thanks to the forms of, you know, the 100 coin Shine Sprites and stuff like that from the previous 6 worlds that we've already explored. So at least I'm very okay with that. So either way though, we would be able to actually get this out of the way. So we're almost there now, so, okay, just only 2 more coins to go, and, oh my jeez Louise, that was so close. In fact, I almost got it fell off again, as you can see right there. I would potentially try to go for this within a 2 attempts run, but unfortunately, I accidentally just fall off onto the edge of the actual thing. But yeah, do not go into that green pipe, because that way, if you accidentally get into the green pipe, it'll able to lead you back onto the hub world again, so definitely not recommend you do that. So there we go, that's the hardest mission out of the way, and seemingly to say, we are basically done for the most part in Delfino Plaza itself. So although we haven't exactly completely done with this yet, because there's still gonna be one last blue coin that we need to get, especially noticeable there's gonna be well, you know, just the next few Shine Sprites that we need to get, until likely whenever we discuss onto that until at the very end of this Let's Play. So, yeah, let's go ahead and obtain the rocket nozzle, and hopefully we should be able to make our way to the next world. So hopefully we would be able to launch ourselves from this point on top of the actual Shine Gate. So, yeah, I think that's most likely obvious. So, I guess we'll probably end things off at this point here. So, join me next time on Let's Play Super Mario Sunshine, and that was the fact that we're going to be hit on to the next world, which appears to be Pionto Village. So, even then, it should be exciting, and especially noticeable that we might able to wrap things up with the 100 coin Shine Sprite in the future. But for now, let's end things off here. So, see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.